Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Happy election day to everybody. Let's start off by taking a deep breath, everybody. Relax. Everything's going to be okay tomorrow. The markets will all be here. I promise you that. We've got my big man here right in the room, Stephen Big Beat. Or how are you doing today, my friend?
It's interesting, Howard. I have two college degrees in poli sci and public administration. And look, I live for days like this, knowing what the psychology of the voter is and trying to articulate the next level of what the country is looking for on the horizon. And there are two candidates that seem to be now. I don't think people understand that there are actually four candidates or more on the election ballot,
Yeah,
and
most.
that may cause some problems. Jill Stein's also there. Um, but you look at the markets in general, and they're pretty much taking this whole election stride, especially one as close as it is today. But there are some telltale signs to who's winning the election. But we got some stocks to get to, and I think we'll just start doing that today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with some good news. Boeing, one of the companies you and I are both a fan of, and we're looking for sort of the news to get us back maybe into a position there. They settled their strike. We've been talking about it
Yeah.
would come sooner or later. I think, in the beginning you thought it might end a little bit earlier, but we didn't realize that pension was such a big deal.
Right.
And they got their deal. They moved it seems like the needle got moved when they did the last $2,000. So all the employees are getting a $12,000 bonus here. And then everything else was about in line with what we heard the last couple of weeks, about a 44% increase in pay and everything. But I'm just happy they're back to work. Let's just hope they can do a little bit of a better job now that they come back, right?
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, they seem to be unhappy. They've been working quite a bit. They've been beat up in Congress, and they've got a pretty big job. Look, a lot of people don't know that Boeing's backlog just to build airplanes is quite heavily. They've got a big backlog, 4 to 5 years, and that's a lot of pressure on these machinists. And they don't need to worry about whether or not they're going to get enough to pay their parents and their kids as parents. And when you look at the next level of airlines, they've got to be up on the education of the technology, right? And so machinists they're not just paid hammers, right? they
Right.
they are they do big things. And I don't know about you, Howard, but when I step on an airplane, I want to make sure that machinist did a good job.
Yeah, it's
So
perfect.
um
That's one of those
yeah,
areas you don't have a lot of room for error.
right.
So I'm with you there. I thought that was, some really good positive news there. So let's start with that. From there, Bitcoin having a pretty good day here. I did look at it already this morning. It's done pretty much what I talked about. I know I wasn't here yesterday, but last week, I said to look for that retracement. It did it pretty well, but everything's holding up pretty well. I had put these two white boxes in here, if you remember, on its move up, because this was basically a measured one move to where we were before, and then it made its second measured move almost to the point, retraced it, now trying to get back in there. I did add in here this yellow zone. This yellow zone has basically been where to me you're still bullish, basically. If we can stay where this yellow is, basically above the 67 mark, then we're still in a bullish stage here. I do think we could see a nice little pop here today. If we can break above 69,115, I'm looking for a run back over 70. So that's the big thing I'm looking at here. Again, 69,150, and we go. So we'll see if we get that at the beginning of the day. We do saw the 10-year yields up at 4.33 there, huh, Steve? So we're seeing that happen. I will say too, I saw that bond. We do know the bond markets were basically pricing in a Trump win, so they're trying to unwind those trades right now. So I saw a couple of articles on that today. Might ask you for some more input on that after we get through the open here. And then definitely got some questions for Stephen Flanagan tomorrow, because it's about the UK's auctions. Their treasury auctions did not go very well. Their rates went up pretty significantly. And what it was is that there's not many buyers, and we're going to think we're going to see that in the U.S. too. Are we going to start to see that? Is a question I have for Steven there tomorrow. DJT, right? We got to get right to it. DJT, DJT, DJT. It is definitely going to be in play all day today, up about 8% here this morning. Below the 200-day MA, tried to get above it, couldn't get above it here. So that's going to be one definitely to watch for volatility. Got about 120 million in shares moving right now, and our average 30-day is only 52. So in the pre-market, we're seeing double our normal average. I think we'll see that there. The other one that people don't sometimes realize seems to be tied to him is Fun, PHUN, which is a social media company also, and very similarly seems to be a play on Mr. Trump, up about 6.37% here this morning. Steve, are you looking for anything out of gold today? Bitcoin, any of these to give you any insight on what we should be looking for?
Look, it's very simple. Gold is a predictor of people that are unhappy, whether or not they feel like the world is good, and it's high. So, if they feel that um, things are back on track, that their candidate wins, will they be dumping gold? I don't think so, because I think right now you're seeing the geopolitical issues still happening. All right, Ukraine is still
Absolutely.
happening. Taiwan and Japan are still happening. China is still happening. Russia is still, well, Russia. There's still issues out there, geopolitical. There is border issues that are still happening. So people are not happy. And because of that, Howard, you're still seeing it. So no, I don't think so. But I don't think you're going to see massive moves either way, to be honest with you.
Okay.
When you look at individual or retail traders, you got to keep your eye on silver. And quite frankly, silver's not even moving that much itself. Up zero, looks like 1% now, 32
1%, but it's been in
something.
that, it's been range bound in that 32 to 34 range. For since you sold yours a couple of months ago at this point. Not that you sold all of yours, but when you mentioned on the show of a sell. Spies up about 10th of a point. QQQ up about closer to 2/10 of a point, but it does look like they're giving back a little bit here in the last 10-15 minutes. So we'll see what happens there. WTI 72 and moving up. Were you surprised that OPEC came out and said that they're not going to raise production, delayed their production again?
I'm not surprised, no. But we are seeing a pop in WTI right now, popping by almost 50 cents there.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Look, I think that Saudi Aramco, a good example of that, is about to, believe this or not, is losing money. They're having to, whether or not that they have to actually borrow money to keep their oil wells going. I know that's a shock to a lot of people, but it's true. And being the largest exporter of oil, and especially the largest in OPEC, no, I don't think so. They need oil prices to go higher, and they're going to get it here. I've said this. We're going back to $73. I said this a couple of days ago. Said it
Yeah.
yesterday, and here we are at 72.24. So they like oil being over $70 a barrel. It makes a big difference financially for their companies, and so they can control that pipeline by just producing less and raising the price. So I think that's what you're seeing right now, actually. Um, but yeah, I don't see anything different. I think oil stays here. Anytime under 70, the U.S. government is buying for the SPR. They've told you that. But no, I think that oil is where it's at. It's pretty much range bound, but going up.
Okay, let's get back into some of the stocks here. Movers this morning. Palantir up another 17% here in the pre-market hours after a strong earnings. The AI software company reported revenue of 726 million, a 30% increase over the same period a year ago, crushing analyst expectations. Revenue also rose 44% from a year ago. I mean, they just keep on, they're on fire. And as I mentioned, Palantir, most people didn't really know about it until hell 6 months ago when they got their invite into the S&P. Huge defense contractor that now is just moved, into the um, the private sector and is crushing it there. So Palantir just continues to move up and up. I think you'll see it challenge its all-time high here at oh, excuse me, I already blew through its all-time high. I think we
Yeah.
still see another move up from it. So Palantir just on fire.
But I've been talking about Palantir for I don't know how long, and I've said this: AI is still AI, and it's growing. It's not getting smaller; it's only getting bigger, and it's going to get. I mean, we're not even in the first inning of all of this, Howard.
Right.
And Palantir is sitting right at the beginning of all of this. Look, they're not the best company when it comes to AI. I think OpenAI and I've said this a million times: the companies that are producing AI that have databases are better, and because they have the actual data. They don't have to pay for data. Trust me, I know how that is. And look, when I look at it from this perspective, Palantir is sitting right in the catbird seat, and they proved it with their earnings. So, yeah.
Yep. And moving up nicely. A couple others that reported already. DuPont had a nice little beat there. They're up 2%. Apollo had a beat. I haven't seen any news on Apollo yet. Wanted to see their numbers here. The raw numbers I can give us right here off the sheet. They were estimated to come in at $1.72 a share, came in at $1.85, about a 7% beat there, and about a 2% beat on earnings. Again, Apollo, big private equity company. Um, One of the first, right?
I mean, mergers and acquisitions. I don't know how else to explain it. I said this months ago that as rates start to come down, borrowing money to buy companies is going to be very, very efficient, and that's what you're seeing now, especially with companies not able to make alpha buying stocks and trading stuff. They're doing it through mergers and acquisitions, and well, we're seeing it.
Steve, I got a question for you. Yesterday, we saw a lot of the nuclear stocks, CEG, TLN, VST, take it on the chin, partly in because Friday the federal energy commission sort of boo-hooed Susquehanna, well, what was Talon's request in Susquehanna to increase their capacity. So is this a time to kind of take a look at nuclear maybe as a buy? I know I was sort of out of that sector, want to be in that sector. I do think it is part of the energy answers of the future. Is this sort of the time? I mean, I'm going to let it get through the election personally. I'm not doing any
Okay,
trading real
so
estate.
that's a good question. You're looking at it from the perspective of Facebook, Meta, looking to using these small, and Google too, small nuclear reactors, using up I guess in this case P235 and in uranium. When you build these little reactors, you got to build. They're still not small, right? They're small comparatively to the normal reactors that power massive homes and businesses. But when you look at that, and the African bee, the rare bee, is stopping the construction of these your plants. That's a problem. So when you have a government that's negative against construction, and oh, we found the snowy bird, a snowy owl, or whatever. Look, I'm all for that, but you it's going to be hard to find land in order to build to produce close enough so that the company that is using it for now in this case we have a few places like 3 Mile Island off of Connecticut that they were going to restart that one and get it going and spend some money. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that, and because we've come a long way in 50 years in building new nuclear reactors. And when you look at that, I think you have to look at the states that they're going to be building them in. Nevada, Texas, places that have lots of land and low income taxes, low taxes, and they're going to be building lots of these plants. Think about it from the perspective of Tesla needing all of that technology. powered, and they'll probably put one right there near the new plant of Tesla. Nevada has lots of land. That's where they started the whole nuclear. Oppenheimer went there, and because of that, look at those states and look at those businesses in those states. They're going to do quite well because where there's nuclear power, they need employees, high paid employees. Construction are high paid, and those places are going to boom for a while. And I think that that's what that you're looking at. So not only are you going to have tech workers with AI and of course Tesla's case software, but you're also going to have workers that are blue collar. So putting those together, all high paid workers, you're going to have some pretty cool areas springing up out of nowhere that are building these really cool places that are going to help us with our energy efficiency and issues with AI. And then once that happens, AI is going to really take off because there won't be needs for in our case right now being hard on the quote grid burnouts or brownouts as they like to call it.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess that's for me why I think that to me nuclear is going to take off either way because there isn't a lot of other solutions. Our electric grid can't do it can only do so much. We need
Right.
that extra power. It's the greenest way to get that power. We see it all throughout Europe. These SMRs, like you said, the smaller reactors, not these huge 3 Mile islands that doesn't take up as much room. So hopefully, maybe doesn't have as much EPA concerns, and we can get through some of those hurdles.
Right.
But it's all about data centers, data centers, data centers. I mean, we heard BRICS talk about data centers and how the Saudis are going to build those all over those nations. We know we need data centers. I think that either way, if you have Vice President Harris win, then it's all about the green energy play there. And if you have DJT win, then it's all about the fact that we want data centers in the US. We just need more energy. You know what I mean? Is I think we get to the same place from either person there. So that one to me seems
Yep.
to be one that isn't really that politically tied because it solves solutions for both candidates. So hopefully we'll see that. That's one I'm definitely be keeping an eye on. One that you hit successfully when I wasn't here. So by the way, you are now 5-0 on the return of Big Beat and 39-1 at this point. I updated my sheet yesterday. I was watching. SMCI earnings here today after the market closes. What are you thinking here? Any play you're looking at today, or or like yesterday, you'll see what everybody does at open and then make it decide if you're gonna look at it
Yeah,
at all.
I think it's all about the open today because it's again, I can't play the early markets, the pre and post markets, because quite frankly, they're a little off. The volatility and the volume is a little off, and it's being controlled by algos in the early markets because
Yeah.
it is limit orders, and I'm not touching that. I really don't want to be a part of that right now. I want to let that settle down, and I think it will right after the election. Right? I mean, I think it's going to take a few days after the election. I was just had to be reminded, in the last 6 elections, when it was that we actually heard the election called out. And though polls being closed does not mean the election is going to be called.
No, we're not gonna know. We won't know the winner for a couple of days.
I don't know about that. I mean, I know that it took 4 days in the last one because we had COVID, right? There was some issues there. With Bill Clinton, we knew about it right around 11 o'clock at night. I remember it's quite hazy, but remember it. But yes, and the second time around, it was like a little earlier, like 10 o'clock. But then when George Bush and Al Gore ran, it was 36 days later.
Hanging
Um,
chads, baby.
Right. And then when you looked at the next one with Bush, you knew earlier, it was like maybe like 11 o'clock at night. So it's not going to be one of those things. And so why do I say that? Obviously, with Biden, it was 4 days later, right? Um, why do I say that? Because there might be some hokey pokey going on in the markets in the overnight markets if we don't know immediately, especially with considering that there might be some. I understand the Proud Boys are gearing up again. I've seen some of that already. If the election is called early or whatever, or if Trump doesn't concede, or if Kamala doesn't concede, to me, look. that could create some havoc in the overseas markets, and I don't want to be in that caught in that crossfire if I can help myself. So I have pulled back a little bit here, but um, I think the numbers are pretty clear about who is going to win the election today. So I don't see that outside of a few countries trading, meaning China, meaning Japan trading in our markets. I don't really see that right now. So if we don't hear who the candidate is, I will be rolling over in my bed tonight at 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to watch the Asian market, right, and seeing what their thoughts are. But I also think that we do have some companies that we have to look at: Tesla, DJT, Mara, iBit, right, that are tied to the Trump side, and they're telling us. I mean, look at DJT this morning. It's up another what? Last I looked, it was up. Gosh,
Eight and a
no,
half
9%.
percent, almost
Yeah.
9%.
So, those could be a referendum on who they think the president's going to be. So, you know what? MSTR is up 3.3% there. So, he's Trump has called himself the Bitcoin president, the crypto president. So, if he wins, then there she goes. I think Bitcoin goes to 100,000 probably by January, if not earlier than that, if Trump wins.
Wow.
If
I'm not
Kamala
there with
wins,
you.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, I
I
think
am
that that's
not
the
there with
case.
you at all on that one.
Yeah, I understand that. But the speed and adoption of the ETFs has been very high and very fast. And look, you're
I think
seeing
it's been played
institutional
by the
buy.
institutions already. I think they've already made their commitment that they're going to make. There's a lot of
Well, I
this
don't
is
think they're
again from
done.
where I deal
Oh,
with different companies that are making these
I think they've just
decisions.
got started. I
Yeah,
look.
well, but what it is a lot of them are hitting that allocation that they want at this point. I want a percentage of AUM. I want a
Well,
percentage
you're
of my
talking about
holdings.
the J.P. Morgans and the Goldman Sachs. I'm talking about the 54,000 other in this case, I would say value plays. Now that it's kind of opened up for the risk management for individual investors or wealth management investors out there who
Yeah,
now feel more comfortable because Trump is the president, then they'll be buying more crypto, right? I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see the futures market explode if Trump wins
I
the
hope
election.
so. I think you'll see. I think you just hit it on the head without realizing it. Bitcoin and crypto, two different things.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
crypto markets will absolutely moon more with a Trump win than a Harris. Bitcoin is more baked in. There's no more regulatory hurdles. Well, you
Right.
could change the tax code a little bit. You could change capital
But
gains,
that's
but
here in the
that
United
those are
States. But what about the codes in the other countries that haven't allowed it yet? I mean,
well. But
China's back
what I'm
and
saying,
forth.
that doesn't change by our election. That's why I don't
Oh
get
yeah,
there
okay,
yet.
now I see what you're
That's
saying.
why you said if Trump wins, we go to 100,000 by January. I wrote
But
it
I think
down.
so too because then I think the regulatory hurdles there for everything is off of Bitcoin and crypto, and I
Yeah, I
think
think
that
crypto, like I said, I think that's where you see Ethereum, Solana, and all the others start to really. You see alt season.
But other countries will look at us and say, okay, Trump's the president. He's all about. I don't want to let the United States win the crypto war, whatever you
Yeah.
call it.
Well, what I'm going to give
And
you
then,
is the contrarian view of that because what happens is when that much money flows into alts, it usually comes out of Bitcoin. So
yeah,
that's why. So that's why I'm saying it. That my view on that is that Bitcoin really doesn't care about the president. There's going to be people who do, and then make decisions on a short-term basis. On that, I think crypto, it's a referendum for sure. If we see a Trump win, that will reverberate across
and
hundreds
we're
of
seeing
coins.
Bitcoin popping right now.
Yeah.
It's now up 2% here on the early trade
I
this
think
session.
Bitcoin more right now is like you talked about as we started off is more a referendum on what's happening across the globe with the Ukraine, with the Middle East,
I agree. Yeah,
with all of that. It's
there it
more and
goes.
more
Bitcoin
people that are
took off.
realizing they should have more and more smart investors that we've heard, huge investors, right? Not just the Stanley Druckenmillers anymore, not just the Tudor Jones. It's been just a wider swath that are saying, yeah, you should have 1%, 2% in Bitcoin, like you should have it in gold and like you should have in silver if you're a wealth individual. So I do think we're going to continue to see that adoption, and that's what's really going to carry us to 100. And I'm only adding about 6 months to your estimation. I think we're there
Okay.
by
Well, I don't like
by
timing the
July.
market. I hate timing the market, as you know. So I'm with you. So we're both in the right
Oh
stand.
yeah,
We
I mean,
both.
listen, I no one's more bullish on Bitcoin than me as a long-term answer. That's without a doubt. I just get nervous with people, with statements that we're going to hit a number in a short amount of time because it's just that's when we always seem to move the other way, isn't it? That's when
Right.
China bans us for the 87th time.
And I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we are about 5 minutes from open here. I don't know how I got logged out of this. Give me 1 second here to pull up my other stuff.
I will make
QQQ's
a
moving
mention
back
here
up
that
here. QQQ moving back up nicely.
I will make a mention today that if you're on the platform for Quasar Markets, that look, I made a post on Twitter as well. Our news is probably second to none when it comes to platforms. You can put any TV channel pretty much around the world inside your system in real time. You can watch politics all day long if it's what you want to watch. You can watch news or you can watch finance or any of that stuff. It's right there, and you can just click on the change out your system and add widgets all you want, add business streaming channels. And I think that's one of the cool places you can
I
watch
can't
all
show
of
the
it.
streaming here, but I will show, or I'm pulling in our site here, or at least my widgets. And what Steve's talking about is, as you can see, I have it set up pretty nicely here. I keep my ticker of what I care about on the top. I got my heat maps ready to go. I got my trade halts because I love to play those pumpers off of that. I've got my Twitter news because I'm still addicted to Twitter as the news source. U.S. market movers here. This one's great. It shows you your biggest gainers and decliners. It won't populate till 15 minutes after open. Stock Twits, a new module I've just started playing with that we added in just recently. We have all that information, as Steve was saying right here. So you go from Twitter news to Stock Twits to Quasar institutional news, which has everything: U.S. economic data. It's got Canada economic data, downgrades, upgrades, economic data. You can source that however you want to here with just a quick click of your mouse. After that, I have my Pluto and Saturn news. So everything, like Steve said, all in one place. I don't need to move off of one site. I have everything here. All of my economic data. It's called Alpha Capturer. Right here, if you want to see what's going on, like we said today, ISMs, upcoming events. This one's great from, I'm going to say the company wrong. Can you say it, Steve? Who does our earnings?
Oh,
AIERA.
Era, yes, Era,
Era. I
yes.
always say it wrong. I feel bad.
Yeah, and with
Um,
Era, all you need to do is just click on the button. You can order them up, and they'll have you rewrite. You can listen to the earnings right in your platform. Believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah. So it really is. I mean, I can't stress enough. I used to spend close to a half hour setting up my screens in the morning to get all of this across my screens. And now I can do it. Number one, it only ties up one screen for me. And then because of the Web3 integration, I'm able to scroll right down. And I'm going to be doing more videos, as those who have been watching know. I did some videos right at the beginning as we started that showed you how to set up your widgets and what each of them did. Look for that to come out over the next few weeks here. I will be doing that. I know Steve's going to be helping me with some of those, showing you how we use Quasar Markets to its fullest potential. 2 minutes away. Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'll go first this time. I never go first. I do think we see an up day in general. I think people get excited about the election. I think people are going to be trading. I think that we're going to see enough of these pumpers and stuff that are going to happen today that we end up on the day. I think QQQ outperforms SPY, and I think Bitcoin gets back above 69. So those are my big predictions for the day. How about for you?
For me, Howard, I feel like the markets are just waiting, and I think there's a lot of angst in the market right now. And while I will say this, that majority of people have already voted in the election, so today is not as big as a day normally that you would see. Thankfully, we have those absentee ballots and early
Yeah.
voting, or it'd be a mess at the election polls today.
Yeah, my wife
Uh,
went this morning. I did mine because I'm still in Maryland for mine, so I
right.
did mine on.
But I think that people are just waiting for the election. I think they're going to be eating popcorn and drinking and and having parties tonight. Election parties are going to be everywhere. And then people that are going to be sitting at home watching, the three main NBC, ABC, and CBS and CNN and those channels, Fox News channels tonight, and that's where it's all going to be, hoping and praying with their candidate will win. I will say that there are some issues out there that also are bringing people to the
We
poll.
are
I think.
open. QQQ moving up a little bit here, Steve. So I don't mean to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
no, you're fine. Yeah, no, bring it on. I think there are some other issues too, right? The abortion issue, and I think marijuana is also on the ballots in several states. So
Yeah.
look at those stocks too.
Yeah, and I think that when I was mentioning that the election won't be done for days, I think that is more. I think there's a lot of state and other elections that don't get called as quickly, that are still very important and will be watched closely by the markets in certain states. Again, like you've talked about Sherrod Brown and Bernie Marino here in Ohio, and there are a lot like that where they are. Look
And I
at
think
that.
Sherrod Brown loses, to be honest with you.
I hope I've tried my best here. I've talked to everybody I can talk to.
And the reason being is negative crypto and Bitcoin.
Right. For
Uh,
those that don't
I
know,
don't.
he runs the Financial Service Committee. He is very anti-tech in general. I won't even just say anti-crypto. He's anti-tech, anti-big bank. He tends to run along the lines with his girlfriend Liz Warren, and he's bad for the U.S. in my opinion that way. I have to say he's been good for Ohio. QQQ trying to break through 489 here. Here we go. So that's not looking good for me because usually when we've seen these pumps right off the bat, we've seen the mean reversion kick in for the rest of the day. So I'm not feeling as happy as I was a second ago. Let's see, VIX at
Dogecoin,
2150,
Dogecoin's up 11% right now.
and that is a Trump play without a doubt. That's what I talk about with crypto. Yeah, Doge. I meant to mention that was up 10% when I looked earlier this morning, and everything up. Again, Chainlink up 5.19, Matic up 4, Sheeb, one of your favorites, up 8% here, Avalanche up 7. Seeing a lot of crypto doing well. Crypto mining company is almost MSTR now up 7%. Steve, I think you said it was 3 a little earlier.
Yep.
Riot up 3.67. Mara 4.71. I'm in a trade with that with Mr. Bauer on a nice little call that he had last week while you were gone. We're in an 1822 call spread. Covered calls for December expiry.
I'm just not liking this here, Howard. I'm going to start.
Looking to short? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I don't really like this market the way that's pushed up there like this. Tesla's up 2 and up 2 point. Yeah, I missed it. I think this. Yeah, I missed it. This is the pullback here, I think. But let's see what the market does here. 69.7 now on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Closing in on 70,000 again.
unbelievable, buddy. I told you. I do think we've got resistance at 70. Breaks that, it's right back to that 72 level.
Yeah, there's some more selling there in the queues. I wasn't sold on this here. DJT up 11% now. Alibaba back above the 100 handle here, up 1.85% here.
The Chinese names have gotten a little love. Neo, I was looking at earlier, was up. Hold it 1 second. Don't want to
Doge is
misquote.
now up almost 12.5%.
Yeah. Neo up 3.7% today. MSTR 7.53, trying to get back up towards that all-time high. 239 right now. Mara up 4%. They're losing some steam, though, here a little bit. JD, again, when you get into China play, is up 2.26%. I think a lot of that is the expectation is that they're going to, make a big stimulus package. So we'll see if that's the case. I tend to side with Michael Litt and Steve Flanagan that you can't trust the Chinese government to follow through on anything. So that would only be a short-term blurb, right?
Yeah. I'm
QQQ
just not
keeps on
seeing what I
going
want
up,
to do.
Steve. We keep seeing buyers stepping in.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
agreed.
ticks at 82. So we are seeing buyers. I mean, again, we're 4 minutes in. That first 15 minutes can send us either way so quickly. I think we just close the markets right here and we hit all three of my predictions and we call it a day. Is that allowed? Come on.
I think I might be allowed here. I'm looking at the QQQ, the SQQQ, which is the inverse
The
ultra,
short. Let me pull that up here.
only being down 1.8%.
That's
That's
weird.
telling me quite a bit here.
For those that don't know, that is the inverse of the QQQ or the NASDAQ. Yeah,
Right.
739 down 1.73. Hmm. Bitcoin
And
69,700.
I am
Gold
actually buying
74.50.
SQQ. I bought SQQ here. I went heavy here, and I think we'll
You
see a
went at
little bit of a pullback.
739.
I can tell you exactly how much. I actually went at market and 738 and a half.
Okay. And again,
And I don't need
Steve
I don't
is
need a lot. So
5 and
I
0. What are you going to target there? About 740?
yeah, probably maybe a little more than that.
Look at that. Okay, so Steve is in. I have not gotten in on anything here. We are going to take a look at 32. We got about 1 minute here, Steve. If you don't mind, I'm going to switch over to BVS. One of this
Let's
just got
go.
stopped.
Yeah.
BVS. I missed it while I was doing this. Good morning, Ron and Ed, by the way. Checking in on YouTube with us. What do we got here? BVS. That's a downward stop. That doesn't help anybody. Because you can't short. I can't short it. Okay, so let's get back to Steve's SQQQ. I'm going to take a look around my watch list here, see what else is moving in a big way.
I am targeting 745 there, share.
745. Nice.
I think we're pretty close now. We want to
Boeing
see.
giving up some of that early wins.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this market might be a little too juicy juice.
Well, you got to expect some people bought that, dip selling, sell it off. Some people who took some faith the other day. Baidu up 1.5% here. CG up
I'm wrong.
1%.
QQQ taking off now. Might be a little wrong here, maybe not.
Yeah, QQQ just broke through 489.50.
Oh, it's only moved 2 pennies. I might add to that a little bit because I don't see it.
Apple up about 4/10 of a point here. AMD, so we're seeing a nice bump there, 1.25% up. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Vimeo has been in play lately. VMEO looks like a pumper again today. The video company.
and I just added a little bit to my SQQ there just to
Okay.
lower it a little bit. I can tell you in a second. Make some changes to my orders. Yeah, we're good there.
I'll tell you what, Vimeo is one for a play back up to that $7 all-time high that it hit yesterday here. Oh, that's a daily chart. Sorry. If I keep hitting the same button without doing something, it's not going to change. Here we go. Sort of like this if it gets moving here, Vimeo. So keep an eye on that too.
7. Yeah, we go. We're good. 738.5 plus 7.33.
Meta up 1.81 here.
So I'm averaged in at 7.37 right now, and we're at 7.36. That's yeah, and I'm still got my order in at 7:45 to dump.
You got
So
it.
yeah,
Steve, NCLH up 2.5% here today. MSTR now up
you know, I
8.52%.
you talk about the cruise lines. How about Royal Caribbean buying Costa Maya? They're buying another island.
Oh, wow. I did not see
That's
that.
very interesting. Yeah,
So now they'll have a second spot that they can stop out on those cruises and
correct.
have their
They
own
want to. Yep.
infrastructure. Intel down about another 0.16 here. For those that don't
69.
know, Intel will be leaving the Dow Jones as
It's already
Nvidia
out.
was added. Intel
Yeah.
was the company that will be removed. Amazon up a half a point here. Apple up 0.3 of a
I am
point.
not seeing SQQ selling off the way that it should. That's good. That means that people are buying it as protection here. That's kind of what I was
Apollo
thinking.
now up almost. It is up 8%. Apollo getting a run here. So there are definitely some pumpers. Earnings matter. Hot. Again, another Bitcoin mining company up 6.62%. You know, I gotta take a look at something here on that my Mara play there.
69.9 now on Bitcoin. So we're going to 70,000 looks like today.
I love it.
There's 737 back on SQQ. I had a feeling. All right.
Intel moving up nicely. So we are seeing a lot of winners so far here this morning.
There we go. There's that selling here. I thought we'd start to see a little bit. Boom. Keep going.
QQQ dropped a tenth of a point there.
There you go. See? 738. Keep going.
Man, not unusual. Only one stop so far. Usually we see so many.
Yep. And that's what I said this morning, right? I don't expect this to happen today. I don't at all.
There you go, Steve. 738. Back to 738 here.
Yeah, I think I got my place where I want to be out at. So at the
Bitcoin
high of the day.
69,
So
862 here. Up 3% here. Highs of the day.
I'm just protecting the portfolio a little bit, just
Gold
in case something goes wrong.
27.45.
We are about 3 minutes now from the. There we go. We do have final PMI numbers. Services PMI we're expecting 55.2, and comp final we're expecting 54. For those of you who don't know, anything over 50 is expansion, under 50 is contraction. So if we see something no bueno, that just pushes the Fed to lower rates again. So
DJT up
739.
15% here, Steve. 14.5.
Yep. Come on. There goes SQQ 740. A little bit more. Come on, baby. Come on. Bring it to me. Bring it to mama.
It's got rejected twice at that 740, but it's trying for sure.
Minute and a half here, waiting on the PMI numbers here.
Boeing back below 155 here, 154.28, down a half a point. Got to be honest, I could start to take a look at that Boeing I've been talking about here. Palantir trying threatening to break 49.50.
538 is now predicting that Harris will be the president of the United States. Nate Silver is now predicting. Decision Desk HQ is predicting Trump. Larry Sabato, a friend of mine, is actually predicting Harris 276, 262. The Economist now says Harris will be the president. Harris, president by elections daily now. Daily Mail is saying Trump. We're seeing, yeah, majority now are saying that Harris will be the president of the United States. So, based on these final election forecasts, wow.
Man, talent up 5% today. Guess that pullback won't be long enough for me to jump in.
68,950 now on Bitcoin there. Almost back to 70.
Yeah,
QQQ. Come on, baby. Slow down.
slow down. 489.20 there.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm just protecting the portfolio today just in case
Yeah.
something goes wonky
Bank's
here.
having a pretty decent day here today too.
Okay, here comes a little bit of a drop there in the
Coinbase
Nasdaq.
up 3% here today also. Modern
And
now up
945.
4%.
PMI now
629.
coming out of 55, expected 55.3 on services PMI. Composite PMI now coming out at 54.1. We expected 54. Previous reading was 54.3. So pretty much in line, which is probably a negative on the markets today. That means there'll be a little bit of pressure on the Fed not to raise rates.
See here. Tick still up 428.
Tis, but I think we're going to see a
Tick's
pullback here.
around 2124 here. Come on, Bitcoin, break that 70K handle here for me. It's trying. Apple's losing a little bit of steam. AFRM picked up about 3% here. Amazon, AMD up almost a point here, so seeing Nvidia up 1.6%.
Keys are really
Palantir up now 19.87%, challenging that 50 handle.
I mean, 50 is where we thought it would go to, and
Yeah.
to me, that's about where it's at. Yeah.
Tesla up 3.77. That's definitely a play on the election today. Also, Doge just can't break up at 11.5, so having trouble trying to get through that next level. Your Sheeb went up a little bit more here, 8.19. That should make Aaron Schurz very happy. APO slipping a little bit here, now only up 7%.
Qs are dropping a little bit. Still fairly. Yeah, there we go. There's the drop. 739 again. Could go 740 here. 738, 739.
Got another one for Steve Flanagan here. Overnight volatility in the U.S. dollar versus the offshore Chinese yuan soared to an all-time high.
We're seeing ILMN ripping here. ILMN, alumina. 70,043 now on Bitcoin. 70,043. You have to look. I have to look at. Yeah, wow. That's a pop there for me. Even as you know, I went pretty big at 68.5 over the weekend. I was happy. Yesterday I was not, and today I'm happy again. So QQQ trying to push a little bit up to the upside here.
I need Mara to break through that 50-day MA at 1650 here. Give us a nice little run.
Q just popped to the top there. So yeah.
Come on. Nvidia topped out a little bit here. PDD still down. Oracle up 0.63. Tesla still running up 3.9. Good morning, Shane. Chilly day in Oklahoma, huh? We're actually having a warm day in Ohio. We're in the 70s. Steve, you always have it warm where you are, so got a few
No,
more
it's
people
always
checking
colder
in
on
with
that.
us here.
I'm inside.
That's right. And Ron says it's a rainy day in Utah, snow in the mountains. I know that will make Mr.
All
Bauer
right.
happy as it moves over to Colorado. I did see all the
Dude.
mountains here on the East Coast are starting to make snow. That makes Steve happy. Quite the skier, aren't you? Visa up about 6/10 of a point here. Oh, we got a halt here. ZCAR, ZCAR.
Says he's scalar.
Zoom Car Holdings. I like the name. Let's zoom
Zoom
up.
are
Okay, here
holding.
we go. This one could be in play, Steve. Z Car. Let's gotta see. We gotta go a little further out on here first.
ZCAR. Okay. I thought you said okay. Up 31% here. Whoa.
Yeah. 521. I'm looking at the daily chart first. You can see how it's just been dropping,
On
consolidating
not
now.
99,000 shares volume. I'm not touching that one.
Oh yeah, no volume. Should pump though. My B4 saying give it a buy. It's the one I trust the most right here. We'll see what happens when that comes off halt. Tesla now up
Wow.
4%.
Bitcoin 70,235 now.
Yeah. There ain't much between it and 72. That was what I noticed on the books, as I mentioned earlier. If it broke through this, so we should see it continue to move up here. Gold struggling to get back above that 2750 handle. WTI back at 72.35, so it's given up. Oil's given up a little bit of its early morning gains. Amazon now up to highs of the day at 6/10 of a point up. MSTR 242 now struggling to get across that. Microsoft bouncing back a little bit here today.
70,300 now on Bitcoin there.
QQQ just broke 490.20. US 10-year at 4.321 now, up almost a percentage point here. Wow. Dow Jones is up 0.3%. SPY's up over half a percentage point, and QQQ up almost 1% here, 0.9%. Bitcoin struggling to stay above that 70,250 handle. That seems to be its battle so far today. SQQQ down 734. Amazon now up half a point. Vimeo trying to move up, just broke through VWAP. I do like Vimeo here. It's got pretty good room to the 70 handle. One broke 7. What's DJT doing here? 38.97. 39.58. You can see was high of the day here just a little while ago.
Qs are pushing higher here. I made a mistake here.
Yeah, up 9/10.
Oh, not a big mistake. We're okay. Right back
954.
below 70,000 now in Bitcoin, so there is some profit taking there.
Yep. QQQ. Whoa, there you go. Steve got hit a little bit there. Tried to break 490.50. Got hit hard there, 490.50. 940 again right here, 490.49. It breaks 490.50. It's still gonna run. There it goes, 490.64. Ooh,
Advanced decline line now positive by 1,000 right now, 1,055.
wow. Tick's still up almost 500. At some point here, you gotta be looking for that mean
Oh,
reversion to play, right?
yeah, Q's taking off there. I might have made a mistake here.
Q's 491. I said if it broke that 490.50, it was gonna run, unfortunately for you. Against you, I guess. 491. What's its next level here? Give me 1 second. Yeah, 491.75. It's got room too. Paulo jumping back up here. 151.53. So it looks like after a little profit taken across some of these ones that were winning, we're seeing them rebound. So we're seeing an undercutting rally here. Robinhood up 2.84% here. Hut mining now up 5.66%. Moderna, one of the few losers here, down a little bit. Trying to see sector health and technology still getting hit here.
We're back above 70,000 again.
Yep. Health sector getting hit pretty hard here. Johnson & Johnson down, Lilly down, Merck down, Abbott down, AMGN down. Pretty much most of them. Seems to be the sector getting hit the hardest here today. Pick up still almost 500 here. QQQ did get back down to that 490.50 area for you. 490.60 here. Bitcoin back at 69,850. So we are seeing some sell-offs here, like you said.
Yeah.
See, Nintendo cut its operating profit forecast for the year by 10%. That its Switch console is losing steam. I don't know anyone that uses that thing anymore. Okay, Steve, we are going to take it out here. We have Jeremy Reland and Matthew Tuttle up next at 11:30, and then Scott Bauer up at 1 p.m. today. Everybody have a fantastic day, and we will see you tomorrow morning.